What is going on, guys? This week something very interesting happened. So as many as you probably already know, this week Microsoft announced that they are finally listening to what people want and they're getting rid of the Kinect for the Xbox One. Now, I never actually owned an Xbox. My brother is actually the Xbox fan who usually gets the Xbox every time it comes out. I usually steer more toward PlayStation and Nintendo. It's just my preference. So this news doesn't really affect me directly. I didn't really care too much for the Xbox One, but it is very interesting to see how Microsoft has backtracked so much on this system. Every time they say that they're not doing something, like a month later they say they're doing it because of fan feedback. And you could really argue whether are they doing this for the fans, are they doing this because they're behind of Sony? You could argue a lot of things for this decision. But something that did get me thinking was, how does this affect early adopters? So when the Xbox came out last year, you were forced to buy a Kinect with it. You were forced to pay $500 to get the system with a peripheral that you may or may not have wanted to try. And for the majority of what people wanted was not to have the Kinect at all, but they were forced to buy it. Now they're going back and they're just selling you the system for $100 cheaper for $400 at the same price as the PS4. And this really sucks for early adopters. If I were a fan of Xbox and I bought one like within the past couple months, I'd be kind of annoyed that they didn't do this from the beginning. They should always give you options. And it's no secret that in this industry that early adopters are kind of screwed. Whether you're buying a console or a game, you're essentially buying a lesser version of a product that could come down the line that would be even better. For example, this whole Xbox fiasco, whether it be you're just buying a console just for the console, and then a couple months down the line, like they did with Titanfall, that they bundle Titanfall and you get Titanfall for free essentially. This happens all the time. I have never really been an early adopter of consoles because I've kind of learned over the years that it's never good to buy a console day one. They have issues, especially now with these consoles that require updates and they're always connected to the internet and they need to be connected to update, that consoles don't really work as intended at launch. The Xbox is just recently updating its system to play Blu-rays, party chat has to be fixed, all these different things that we expect as consumers to work as intended, especially since the Xbox 360's party system is pretty good. And the fact that they can't get that to work on their new system is kind of a joke. It's great that these systems can update and change as time goes by with developers, but if you're kind of using that as an excuse to, we'll do it later, that kind of sucks. It should be more beneficial than harm the consumer. Way back in the day when the 360 launched, there was the tread red ring of death that new 360s were kind of broken out of the gate, and that is something I worry about when I buy a brand new piece of hardware that hasn't really been tested in the market. If you're gonna pay like $400 or $500, I want my product to work. I don't want to go through this hassle where I have to ship it and then get it returned back and fix it and all this hassle. I just want to use it and enjoy it. And of course, as consoles get older and time goes by, they release slimmer versions or improved versions of their console. The Xbox 360, of course, the fat one, they released a quieter one, a slimmer one a couple years down the line. Same with PlayStation. They had the PlayStation 3, then they had the PlayStation Slim, now they have another Slim. And I am a owner of a PlayStation 3 Slim. When they first announced a revision, I think it came out in 2009. I bought the Slim. I liked the design of it. It was cheaper. It was $300, and I got that versus getting the PlayStation at launch, which was like, I forget, $600, $599. And I felt good about my purchase when I bought my PlayStation 3. Of course, there was a lot of updates to, it's been a couple years since the PS3 came out. I had to update it, get it up to speed, but I liked the design of it. I liked that it was, improved of the other one, and that of course it was cheaper. So I felt like I benefited from waiting and kind of researching and following the market as it grew with the PS3. We're also seeing this with Nintendo's consoles. Not necessarily their home consoles, because they don't really change their home consoles too much. They don't release a slimmer version. They never did that with the Wii. They released the Wii Mini, but that didn't have internet access, so that doesn't really count. But Nintendo's kind of good with their consoles. Like, I'm very, very confident buying a Nintendo console day one if I were to ever to do that. For me, if a console has a game that I want, then I will gladly buy it. I'm definitely getting a Wii U just for Smash Brothers because I know I'll play that game for years and years. But with their 3DS, they released the 3DS a couple years ago, and that looked like a cool piece of hardware, like 3D without the glasses in a handheld. Seemed really cool, and I've tried it at various kiosks, and it works as advertised. It's very cool 3D. But at the same time, you got to think about that, and you got to look at the Nintendo's history and see how they are with handheld hardware. And there was the Fat DS, there was a DS Lite, there was a DSi, there was so many different DSs that they were definitely going to release a better 3DS, and they did a 3DS XL, which is better, which looks better, which plays better, which feels kind of better. The original 3DS kind of felt a little cheap. I don't actually own one, but I've tried one out, and the 3DS XL just looks and plays way better. You have a bigger screen, buttons feel better, and you just get a better product overall just for waiting, not adopting it as it originally came out. So I think it all comes down to just know your market, research a little bit. Of course, if you're excited to get the 3DS, like as it is announced, like who's to say like you can't buy that as you want. But if you're someone like me who kind of researches like products and the market and how the industry is, then you're probably going to wait on that first announcement of like a 3DS, and because you know that a new one's going to come out, something that's better. People want the best software that they can get. This is something you kind of see with the iPhone. A new one is released almost every 6 months to a year. And surprisingly, people still buy that because they want the latest. They want the best. Everyone who bought the most recent iPhone, I think their iPhone 5C or something, 5S, they know a new iPhone's coming out in like a year. The iPhone 6. We all know there's going to be an iPhone 7. There's going to be an iPhone 6S or some kind of in between before the 7 comes out, and then it's the same process. And I think they're continuing to do this because they see the market still responds to their behavior in a way. They are allowed to get away with this because they see that people continue to buy like an iPhone S. They'll buy 5. Of course, they're going to buy the 6. As long as they see that people are buying this, they're going to continue to do it. And that sucks. That's kind of a bad business model. But if they're making money, it'd be stupid for them not to do that. But someone like me who wants the best of the best, or like the best the product can be, I'm probably never going to get an iPhone because I know my phone is never going to be the best. They're always going to one-up it. We also kind of see this with games. Now, games are kind of following the same model. How it works with games is a developer will release a game at full price for a couple months. If it's a really good game like a Mario game or like The Last of Us, it'll stay at like its top price of 60 or 50 for the majority of its lifespan at the market because people respond to it better. But the game sits, eventually there will be a price drop. Might be a year, might be 2 years, who knows, but eventually it'll go down in price. And I'm all for supporting developers of games, especially games, because I know that industry is so difficult to work with that there's really no such thing as job security in the games business. And I will definitely support that. I bought Dead Space 2, I bought Resistance 3, I bought the Smash Brothers games, I've bought Mario games. I bought all those games day one at full price, even though I knew that there would be a cheaper version a couple months down the line. There might even be a Game of the Year edition a year from there, but I bought these games because I wanted to support the games that I want to play. In the case of The Last of Us, I think I bought it like a couple months afterwards. I had bought it at full price, but they were offering me a free season pass with that. So I bought The Last of Us for $60 and I got a free season pass, which gives you all the DLC and the single player content and all that stuff. So I feel like I got a good deal with that. And this kind of brings me to my point where I think developers should reward early adopters instead of kind of punishing them. I think if The Last of Us launched at $60 in June when it came out with a free season pass for like the first month or the first 2 months, I think so many people would respond to that I think they would even sold more copies. Do a trial version, do like the first month or the first week or the first day. It doesn't matter. Give early adopters something better than, here, buy a season pass for $20 and we'll promise you content down the line. Which one sounds better? Games are trying to do this now with pre-order bonuses and special things that you get, like a gun, or like it's like a costume or a gun. And I really don't think that's that has its market, that has its people that want that. But I think if you really give people something better for getting their game like within the first week or as it came out, I think a lot more people would respond to that. And I think Injustice Gods Among Us, the DC fighting game from the Mortal Kombat guys, came out I think last April. It sounded really interesting, and I really wanted to pick it up because I kind of enjoyed Mortal Kombat 9. But then they were announcing that they will slowly release DLC costumes as they come out in packs, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all, and that kind of held me from buying the game. As the game's lifespan continued, we just saw packs of like $5 or $6 for costumes or whatever it was, and you would see all these packs with different costumes, and that was cool. Like, that's really cool that they're making more content. But as a consumer, I want the game and I want like all the DLC. I feel like you're trying to sell me to your game, like I want your DLC. And then I kind of remembered what they did with Mortal Kombat 9. They did the same thing where they released costumes and character packs, but then they also released I think it was a year after, a Ultimate Edition, a complete edition with all the costumes and all the characters for the same price, even a cheaper price. So with Injustice, I kind of thought to myself, if they did that, they're definitely going to do it again. And they did. Not even a year later, they released it last fall. They released an Ultimate Edition of Injustice with all the characters and all the costumes. And right now, I think it's tracking at $40. So you get the game, you get all the character costumes, you get like 5 characters for a cheaper price than what the game originally launched with half the content. So yeah, I picked that up. I picked up Injustice Ultimate Edition, and I feel like it was a great buy. It just sucks that it had to take so long for them to kind of realize that, consumers want everything at once. The original Injustice, when it first came out, they released a season pass, yeah, but they didn't promise you everything. They told you that if you bought the season pass, you would get the 4 characters, I think it was, and that wasn't including Scorpion, I believe. And they were also promising some costumes, but not all the costumes. If they had released a season pass for $20 for all the characters and all the costumes, that would have kind of got me thinking like, okay, I'll pay a little bit extra for all this extra content you're giving me. But they didn't. They kind of did a season pass. You get I think you got like a pack of costumes, and you got 4 characters, not including Scorpion. So I could be wrong. Scorpion could have been included, but you get the idea. So I just wanted to give my opinions on this whole Xbox without Kinect now, how big companies can really respond to fan feedback and fan reaction and fan spending habits. Like, the Xbox is not doing as well as the PlayStation, and they see that and they need to do something. So they're responding to the market, and the market says we don't want Kinect. So thank you for watching, guys, and please leave me your feedback in the comments below. Peace out.